Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 1906 South Hawley Street here in Canby. We are located at the front of the house. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front door. So the front doorway, or the cleanout's just off to the left of it. That was the doorway I was just pointing out there. Right in front of the foundation vent, kind of the right side edge of that vent well there, you've got a 3-inch ABS cleanout. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's running. We're going to zero out and off we go here. So we've got a little bit of hot water going through the pipe right now. We'll get some of that cleared out for when we pull back in. We'll get just a little clearer image at that point.
Okay, just turn the water on.
Thank you. Transitioning here to 4-inch 3034 PVC pipe. Camera is upside down at the moment, if you're wondering why the water's flying overhead. All right, that's the main connection there. We're hooking right into the manhole out in the street. We're gonna go verify which one it is here while the pipe drains off. Then we'll pull back here in just a moment, take a better look at everything. All right, we're gonna go ahead and reel back in here. Line terminates at the manhole that's straight in line with the cleanout out in the street. Kind of a cool sewer line. Most lines aren't set up where they hook to the manhole, but between the first clean out, the sidewalk clean out, and the manhole, you can see exactly where this line runs. And we're just about done draining out. Just a tiny trickle going through the pipe here. So the one thing I will clue you into, and I'm not trying to beat you up here, it's something I talk about a lot on my videos. As long as I've been doing this, grease buildup has become one of the most concerning things I've seen over time. In fact, it's honestly more concerning to me than a lot of structural issues like bellies and offset joints. It's often a culmination of a structural problem combined with stuff like grease buildup. And then you can see what else is collecting there. It's not just grease. You've got toilet paper, bits and pieces. So that's kind of the issue. When you flush the toilet, especially these low flow toilets, rarely does your debris get from point A to point B in one shot. And so when it stops, if it stops up in a layer of grease, that toilet paper just gets glued to it. And over time, it can cause just layer upon layer to build up in the line. So it's a big contributing factor to a lot of blockages out there, especially ones that result in full-on backups. It just acts like glue, and it causes stuff that would otherwise clear the line to get hung up. And when blockages do happen, they're less likely to break loose on their own naturally. Especially just, you know, like what kids like to do, ball up toilet paper. Those are the #1 cause for blockages out there. But if your pipe walls are nice and clean, a lot of times when water starts to build up behind those blockages, in a lot of cases, the head pressure will actually break things loose. So it's the reason you want to try and keep your line nice and clean, is that the grease can cause a blockage that would otherwise break loose on its own to get stuck and hang in there. They can withstand more head pressure because that grease acts like glue. So it wouldn't hurt to clean the line, but I mostly am pointing it out just for the sake of kind of seeing what happens. This is I don't even know if it's a year-old home. You've got grease built up already at this point. So it's what I tell most people is a rule of thumb. And this is not at a point where it's outrageous or significant. My camera scraped a bit of it loose. I'm just kind of pointing this out for educational purposes more than anything. General rule of thumb to live by, if you can, if you've got enough grease or oil on your pans, that when you turn that pan sideways, when the pan's hot or warm, if there's enough on there that it flows off the pan in beads or worse, it's at that point you want to do something about it. Either pour it into a jar or tin metal cup or something like that while it's still liquid, or you can wait for it to cool down and scrape it off into a garbage can or use a paper towel to wipe the pan out. So thin little coating of PAM spray on the pan's no big deal. Hot water and soap handles that. And you can see here, so what I can tell you about this home, just from doing 25,000 sewer inspections, this looks like a household that is a hot water house that looks like you wait for your hot water to get toasty warm before doing your dishes. The reason I can tell that is your interior pipe here is nice and clean. The pipe through your crawl space is suspended in the air. It's well insulated, so that water stays hot going through the crawl space, as does the oil and grease it's carrying. Once the pipe hits the exterior where it's buried underground and it's cold all the time, that grease starts to rapidly cool down, as does the water that carries it, and so it starts to all harden up on the outside of the home. So if you do any cleaning on the line here, luckily all of it can be done from the exterior. You don't have to mess with the interior pipe. So as this line currently sits, we have good flow to the main. So, it wouldn't hurt to clean the line, but it's not at a point where that grease would be causing blockages all on its own. It would mostly contribute to a blockage if something already large or abusive was going down the line. Either a whole bunch of balls of toilet paper or something improper like wipes, paper towels, things like that. If you keep that one living habit in place I was just talking about there, you can keep a line spiffy clean indefinitely. It is a habit you have to build into your life to keep it that way. But again, what we've got here is not outrageous, but you can see how much has occurred in a year. If you can imagine the level that it can get to after many, many years of usage like that. So just something I suggest build into your life. It helps mitigate blockages, but it's a bigger deal, granted, when you've got a big household like mine with 4 kids in it and a lot of stuff's going down the line all the time. As we sit here today, this line is functioning very nicely. All of it's in good condition, no bellies, offset joints. The water you saw there as we went backwards into the home was water that got turned on from the home inspector. The whole line here drains out very nicely.